Now, let's talk more about the data shown on each piece of equipment in the P&ID. Any P&ID shows the main design parameters of the equipment in question. The design parameters are either related to the design pressure and temperature or to the dimensions and performance parameters. The parameters here to be shown in the P&ID differ depending on the company or project standard. However, there are common parameters to be shown, such as the design conditions for equipment in case of static equipment, or in other words, the design pressure and design temperature. Design conditions are different than the operating conditions. If a vessel is expected to operate at 10 bar, then its operating pressure is 10 bar. However, if something went wrong in the operation and the pressure was raised, then there is a pressure on which the vessel is mechanically designed to withstand. Let's say it's 15 bar, for example. So the vessel design pressure is 15 bar gauge, and under any upset conditions, the pressure in the vessel shouldn't exceed 15 bar gauge. Otherwise, the vessel is susceptible to failure. So the P&ID shows the design conditions, unlike the PFD, which shows the operating pressure and temperature of a piece of equipment. However, in some companies, operating conditions are shown on the P&ID. The P&ID may also show the equipment dimensions or other equipment rated specifications. So, in the case of vessels or towers, it shows the diameter and the tan to tan length. For a tower, it may also have more than one section, so the P&ID shall show the design conditions and the dimensions for all tower sections. Also, minimum vessel tower elevations are needed to be added on the P&IDs, as they usually affect the pump NPSH and the liability of sizing the pressure safety valves for fire scenarios if the elevation is less than 25 feet. And there are other criteria that the vessel elevation is an important factor. So it's commonly shown on the P&ID. For heat exchangers, usually the duty is shown on the P&IDs. Some companies may also show the main exchanger dimensions, such as shell diameter and tube length. For pumps and compressors, the rated volumetric rate and differential head and the rated power are shown. Sometimes the design pressure is shown, which represents the shutoff pressure or the maximum pressure the pump shall give during operation, so that it shall be considered by the discharge system. But this is not always shown. The most important are the volumetric flow rate, the differential head, and the power. It may also happen that the material of construction of the equipment is also shown. However, this depends on the standard of the company anyway. Finally, for all equipment, all nozzles and manholes are expected to be shown. In addition to the main nozzles for inlet and outlet fluids, we should also show other nozzles for instruments or for utility connections, such as nozzles for steam or nitrogen purging that are carried out during maintenance to get rid of hydrocarbon vapor and allow the operator to go inside the vessel. We have seen an example in a previous video showing how the nozzles are shown on the P&IDs.